welcome to a very late and very slightly scuffed Fight of the Night review. This is for the one that took place a few nights ago, not last night, between Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler. It was on the main card. I think it was like the halfway point of the main card. It was at Madison Square Garden in where else? New York City, as opposed to Madison Square Garden in Hull. So yeah, we're going to break it down round by round, bit by bit, and try and remember as much as I can. Tell you my final thoughts. I mean, that's just how this goes, so I say we get on with it. The fight starts and both men are feeling each other out quite well, but Michael is obviously the first one to start being more aggressive, as he's more naturally explosive than Dustin is. And he starts closing in quite well. He lands some couple of good shots, mostly leg kicks. He lands some really good body kicks to open, but Dustin's head movement and body movement and just defense in general is pretty good, and it does keep him out of fire. It keeps him out of a firefight for quite a while. But as the round goes on, Michael does start pressing a little bit more, and he's actually the first one to start landing something, as both men kind of go for a takedown. Michael shoots. I think Dustin tries to counter, but both men's heads clash, and that causes Dustin to be a bit more wobble from it, and Michael follows up and starts landing a lot of shots. He has Dustin against the cage for a lot of this part of round one, and starts laying into him with some really good shots, mixing it up to the body as well. And eventually, after landing all these great shots, I am so sorry for my hair, he does get a takedown, and he doesn't really get a lot of ground and pound in, and Dustin's own movement and submission movement is really good. Although Michael does attempt a rear naked choke, I think it's in this round or round two. But he attempts a rear naked choke and is a bit too high on it, and Dustin eventually manages to escape and sort of gets back to his feet before Michael drags him down with a fucking German suplex. That was kind of awesome. It just was. I mean, you don't really see that in the UFC a lot of these days, so it was cool to see Michael bust that one out. And yeah, it rocks Dustin pretty hard, although Dustin is obviously still standing. Well, he's still underneath Michael, as Michael has taken him down again, but he eventually manages to recover and get back up against the cage. Michael starts landing some pretty good shots against Dustin, and the two sort of trade back and forth against who's got who against the cage. Eventually, Dustin has his back to the cage again, but he uncorks a massive right that knocks Michael down, and that's the biggest shot that Dustin lands throughout this entire fight. He hits Michael really hard with it, and Michael's backing away, and Dustin starts opening up on him with some really good strikes, also mixing it to the body, even lands an elbow across the face, and even though, and eventually the round ends, even though Michael's face was definitely more messed up by the end of the round, and it really was, as I'll get more into in round two. I give round one to Michael. I just think he was a bit more aggressive. He landed some really good takedowns. His wrestling was awesome. His striking was good. I like that he initialized a little bit more. Even though he did suffer the biggest shot of the fight, he still landed some really good ones of his own. And I think judges are a bit dumb, personally, if they think that like someone wins the fight because of what they did at the end of the round. Don't get me wrong, what Dustin did at the end of round one was really good. But that was the end of round one. Throughout the beginning, middle, and mostly the other bits in between, it was Michael's round, so yeah, I still give it to him. Round two, we don't really have as much to talk about, so I'll try and wrap this up as succinctly as I possibly can. Also, I just really like the word succinctly. I should use it more in videos, so I make myself sound more smartish, man. Anyway, in round two, Michael sort of has Dustin against the cage again, lands a couple of shots, nothing major, takes him down, and is pretty much staying on top of him throughout the entirety of round two. The most notable things that happen are he does land some good ground and pounds. That's one of them. Dustin, throws up a triangle choke that when he squeezes hard with it starts causing... oh yeah, I forgot to bring this up, even though I said I wouldn't forget to bring it up. So one of the major injuries that Michael suffers going into round two, as per the flurry from Dustin at the end of round one, is his nose is really badly broken and is pouring blood. When Dustin goes for a triangle choke in round two, even though he's on his back, because, you know, there's not many other positions you can get a triangle choke from, he starts squeezing, and it causes some of the blood to pour from Michael's face in really, really massive spurts. It's kind of a bit disturbing to watch, and it's also a really gross and awesome image at the same time. You know, but Michael manages to tough through it. He manages to recover quite well. I think he does attempt a rear naked choke. I don't know. He stays on Dustin a lot. And near the end of it, he does have Dustin in sort of like a side mount position near the end of the cage, near one of the sides of the cage, of the many 8 sides of the cage, and starts landing ground and pound, most of which hit him in the back of the head. But he does mix that up and actually start landing on Dustin's face, doesn't open any cuts on him or anything. And yeah, round two, definitely, definitively Michael's round. He, got the takedown early, went for some really good stuff. I would say the biggest thing Dustin did was the triangle choke. But even that wasn't enough to keep Michael down, because Michael is a bit too psychotic to be put away by your measly submissions, I will have you know. But yeah, round 2 definitely goes to Michael, much like round 1 does. We then get to round 3, and also not a great deal happens, although the fight is a finish in round 3. So, yeah, Michael goes for another takedown fairly early on. There's not really many strikes between them beforehand. Yeah, Michael goes for a takedown, Dustin defends it, and there's a really great wrestling roll-around where Michael tries to scoop up Dustin and sort of gets him down, but Dustin's able to recover wonderfully and switches it around to get into a top man position, lands some good ground and pounds. Eventually Michael sort of gives up his back, Dustin gets on top of him, on his back. After some good hand fighting, Dustin sinks in a rear naked choke about 2 minutes into round 3, makes Michael Chandler tap. So, yeah, I guess we have to talk about the fight. So I will admit, there really was no doubt in anyone's mind what would be the fight of the night come Madison Square Garden. I mean, everyone thought and guessed correctly that it was going to be Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler. And I agree, I thought it was a very exciting fight. Well, okay, I thought round 1 was very exciting in a lot of places. Round 2, not so much, and round 3 finished way too early, which is probably why I'm single. But, sorry, I couldn't help that one. But yeah, I don't think this fight's going to be in my top 10. I thought it was an entertaining fight. I think you should seek it out for yourself. I just, again, I'm a picky bitch. I like my fight of the night to be a bit more even. I think Michael had won way too much of the fight until he was submitted in round 3. I think if it went a bit longer, maybe Dustin finished within the last minute, and, we could have gotten a bit more excitement by that point, because the crowd were definitely at their highest during round 1. The bit they were most excited for in round 2 was the triangle choke that Dustin threw up that made a lot of the blood from Michael's face stop pouring more out of his nose hole. And then round 3 was just, failed takedown, really good scramble. Dustin manages to get the submission, gets the win. Well done to him, although I think if it went to the judges' scorecards, it would have gone to Michael Chandler. It was still an exciting fight, still worth seeking out, not going to be a top 10 from me personally. And that'll about do it. The next thing I'll see you for will not be tonight. No, PBW vs AEW tonight, because I'm taking a week off after the surprisingly great pay-per-view that was Capture the Crowd. It was awesome. And next thing you'll see me for will likely be Music of the Week on Thursday. And then, at some point this week, I've only got a couple more bits to edit of the Zone of the Enders Let's Play. That will be up. I'm hoping to get that up by tomorrow night, or Thursday night at the absolute latest. Because on Friday, I'm going to be streaming my next Let's Play, which will be Marvel's Avengers. And hopefully, it doesn't stew me like the Zone of the Enders game did when I was trying to stream record that. That really annoyed me. But I will see you all very soon for that. And, yeah, that's about it. I don't really have much else to say or do. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye-bye.